DJ Blunts is in the building. Here to announce that Tom Haverford is in the building.
Oh, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Donatella.
T-Mobile.
3 words for you. Treat yourself.
Treat yourself 2011.
Once a year, Donna and I spend a day treating ourselves. What do we treat ourselves to?
Clothes.
Treat yourself.
Fragrances.
Treat yourself.
Massages.
Treat yourself.
Mimosas.
Treat yourself.
Fine leather goods.
Treat yourself.
It's the best day of the year.
The best day of the year.
Take a second and think. While Treat Yourself Day is great and sounds awesome, why is it only one day a year? Parks and Rec is a great series, and treating yourself is something that we do want to do. However, sometimes self-care and being kind to ourselves is more difficult than it may seem. It often, especially as you get older and have a job or kids and more responsibilities, gets put on the back burner. Maybe you are already sacrificing time for yourself to support or please your family or friends. This is an admirable and a very important thing that you are doing. But this week, which happens to also be a week of resolutions for millions, try to make a small, attainable plan to make a chunk of time to take care of yourself. Treating yourself doesn't mean you have to spend money, make some elaborate event or plan, or even do anything at all. Sometimes the self-care people need is slowing down in solitude. Maybe it's reading a book, cooking, running, hiking, skiing, or sharing a triple whip, big gulp, super venti, mocha soy milk latte frappuccino with a friend. One thing that is scientifically, which means it really works, proven thing is gratitude. This short clip is framed around the idea of using it in a business, but it works just as well in our own personal lives. It may be extra important, given the year that we've all just been through, in reframing the way our brain sees the world. Let's take a watch.
The first one is work that was done by Emmons and McCullough, which is a really fascinating study. What they did is they went to a company, much like many of yours. They went into a company and they had every one of their employees on these individual teams, when they first came into work, write down 3 things that they were grateful for new into a Word document. By new, I mean something that happened over the past 24 hours. So what that means is 3 new things each day for 21 consecutive business days in a row. At the end of that period of time, of course, you have 63 things you're grateful for, which in and of itself is interesting, but not the reason we do the experiment. It doesn't matter what you write down. What matters is your brain is scanning the world for the things that are positive. Because what happens is we've oftentimes trained our brain to scan for the negative, that we're incredibly good at doing that. And we're only incredibly good at doing that because our brain is a single processor. So we devote our finite resources to scanning the world only for the negative, and as a result, continually miss out on the reality of the positive things that are occurring in our environment. If you do this for 21 days in a row, that research shows that you can take pessimists who always test pessimists, who we know have genes for pessimism, and they now test as low-level optimists. So excited they stopped the study. 6 months later, they came back to work with the company and found that those individuals did not return back to where they were. They were now testing as low to moderate level optimists. What they did is they started their meetings with one thing they were personally grateful for, one thing they were grateful for about their team, and one thing they were grateful for about one member of their team. Then they talked about the fires they needed to put out, but suddenly those fires were not threats, they were challenges. And as a result of that, the entire performance of the team started to rise.
3 simple things that you're grateful for each day for 21 days. This requires $0, about 1 to 2 minutes of your time max, and has lasting impacts in how people view themselves and the world. Sounds like a worthwhile investment of self-care to me. I'm going to be doing this in January, and I hope that you think about joining me. In the chat box, can you type in one thing that you are grateful for to get us started, and one thing that you may want to do to practice self-care? Like I mentioned earlier, self-care is like most New Year's resolutions. Easy to start, but most fail or fall short of their goal. Several tips to help with making self-care a priority this year are below. Define it and write it down. Determine what it is that you will do and write it down somewhere that will remind you to practice your self-care. Number 2 is schedule it. Put it on your calendar. What is scheduled most typically gets done. When left to chance, chances are it gets left out. And number 3, don't do it alone. When resolutions or goals are done with accountability or partners, they're more likely to happen. See who else loves to cook or read or work out or draw manga, and try to do the self-care together. It helps keep you motivated, and you're less likely to give up on it, knowing that someone else is in it with you. We all have high hopes for 2021, and no matter what it throws at us, self-care will be important for us coping, recovering, and moving forward this year as an individual, school, and society. Give yourself grace and put some self-care practices in place this year. Lakers, I'm grateful for you, and we'll see you next time.